You are listening to Productivity Straight Talk with your host, Amber De La Garza. She is passionate, direct, and sometimes a little sarcastic, but always gives you what you need to succeed in business. Now, here's your host, Amber De La Garza, the Productivity Specialist.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to Productivity Straight Talk. Today is episode 006, Unselfishly Letting Go to Make Your Business Grow with Mike Rayburn. If you're an entrepreneur who wants to take consistent, massive, focused action in your business and life, then you're in the right place, and I'm so glad you've joined me. I'm excited about this episode because you're going to meet my guest and friend, Mike Rayburn. He is a Hall of Fame international keynote speaker, author, comedian, and world-class guitarist. Mike Rayburn is an inspirational thought leader and one of the most in-demand and unconventional keynote artists in the world. Drawing from his success as an entrepreneur, as well as Carnegie Hall headliner, Mike is a master at increasing profitability and impact by inspiring your team to become possibility thinkers and virtuoso performers, all by daring you to ask the question, what if? When listening on my conversation with Mike Rayburn, you will discover how letting go can help quadruple your income, what happens as your business, expertise, and life grows, the triggers that can help you identify which tasks to delegate, how to find balance on the road, and so much more. So let's dive right in and meet Mike. Hello and welcome, Mike Rayburn. Welcome to the Productivity Straight Talk show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Amber. How are you?
I am awesome. I am so happy that you are here with us, my listeners, and myself. And we are going to get into and find out exactly what it's like to be Mike Rayburn, a keynote artist, and your background on entrepreneurship. And then you're going to be sharing with us some exciting challenges and strategies and techniques you use to be productive. One of the reasons I asked you on my show was because, well, one, I just love you. And, we've been able to build such a great business professional relationship. But you and I jam out about productivity. You read my emails, I read your emails. We see each other and we're like, oh my gosh, I could have said the same thing. And so I feel like we're really in sync on a lot of things productivity. So I couldn't wait to have you come on.
Very good. Well, everything you just said is exactly right. And you do this so well. So I appreciate you even thinking that I'm in the ballpark of someone to interview. So,
of course. So why don't you give our listeners a glimpse into your business structure, and what exactly is a keynote artist?
Okay, a keynote artist. I deliver keynote presentations to corporations and associations, teaching innovation and performance, but I do it using guitar and comedy rather than PowerPoint, so it's a lot more fun. So I'm teaching what are essentially artistic tools. That's my background. I have a degree in guitar and music business, and I've been a guitarist all my life. I've performed Carnegie Hall and all these different things. So what I do is I teach artistic principles, but in a business or a life context. So anyway, that's actually my profession. I've been an entrepreneur. I've been self-employed since the 80s. And I built a business where it's driven by my performances, my presentations to corporations and associations. But it extends into merchandising, all the products that I sell, which are DVDs, books, CDs, recordings. I make money from my YouTube videos. So I have 3 employees. Well, I have 2 employees and 1 permanent contractor. And the 2 employees are full-time. So my income is based on a combination of the income coming in from presentations, my product sales, and then miscellaneous from performances through CSAC and a couple things that don't really matter. But that's the basic overview of the business.
I love it. We take it for granted, or I do, because so many of my friends are professional speakers. I had a client of mine come to the National Speakers Association Las Vegas chapter meeting last month, and he goes, I had no idea that speaking was a profession and a business. And you have just shared, and I guess I just take that for granted, but you've just shared with our listeners that it is entire business behind speaking. It's not just the 60 minutes on stage. There is so much more to that. You've got marketing and you've got staff and you've got a phenomenal blog that you write on. And like you said, product sales. And really, this is an entire business model. And you just happen to share your message on the stage. Is that correct?
That's correct. And the thing to remember, you say that people don't realize it's a profession. Very few people or little kids are in the sandbox going, I'm going to be a professional speaker when I grow up. And so I didn't even know what it was. And this is after 20 years of being an entertainer. And then when I discovered it, it worked because that was my background was at the same time I was an artist. I had this very non-artist habit of personal development, learning about goal setting, listening to Tony Robbins and reading psycho-cybernetics and stuff like that. So this is how they all came together. But yeah, it is a profession and people don't realize that.
I bet our listeners are probably pretty interested in what is a day in the life? What does your typical day look like? And I think you might need to give us a typical day when you're at home and then maybe a typical day being on the road because you do travel so much.
Correct. Typical day at home. I wake up and I structure my time. Okay, we're talking productivity. To me, time management comes down to three things, and they go in this order: values, priorities, and actions. And so I have chosen and ranked my values, and my values in order, I've chosen 5 of them, are faith, family, health, career, and either adventure or recreation. And it was more adventure until I had kids, and then I realized kids need a dad, so I need to be around. So I needed not run class 6 rapids in a kayak. So anyway, so I start my day. On a good day, I'll have morning time where I pray and get acclimated for the day. Sometimes it takes longer. Sometimes it's real quick. Then I'm with the family. We're fixing breakfast. I take the kids to school. Then I jump straight into 3 of the days of the week I will work out. And the others, I will go straight to, I have a place. Well, this is so important.
I know. I'm so glad you're going to tell our listeners about this. Go for it.
Well, what I was going to say is a couple different things. The one is that I have a place I call the casita. It's a 3-bedroom condo, which I saved money for and bought. And it is a way to separate work or not creative, but my writing and my work from home. So when I come home, when I finish either my workout or go straight, I go to the casita and I'm there. It's where my assistant comes in. It's where I've kind of fixed it up so it's my own little lair. You've seen it. You've been there. It is so much more productive to be able to move away from home to do that. Now, it's not that I can't sit at home when there's nobody here and write. I can certainly do that. But there's just something that happens when you say this is work and now this is home. And so that separation is important. So I'll start off, and the way, I guess we'll jump into it. I think one of the smartest things I ever learned was to plan your day the night before. If I try to figure out today what I'm going to do today, sometimes it's at best fumbling and at worst an exercise in futility. So what I do is the night before, when I'm still awake a little bit, I'll sit down and I'll just write down every single thing that I have to do. The little things, the big things, there's appointments or whatever. And then I'll just go through and I'll ask myself a question. If I could only get one thing done tomorrow, what should it be? And I put a number 1 by that. And then now I assume that's done. And I say, okay, from the rest of the list, if I could only get one more thing done, what should it be? And I write a number 2 by that. And you can see I'm prioritizing the list. And I go on, number 3, 4, 5. And then actually, if I've got enough time, I'll rewrite them in order because I like to see them in just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
and
clean it up.
Yeah. And then the key is start with number 1 and work until it's done. Nice little rhyme there. Start with number 1, work until it's done. I find my philosophy about this, and I know you so resonate with this, but is there's not enough time to do everything. But there is enough time to do the most important things. And so if I start with number 1 and work until it's done, and then I get to number 2 and number 3, but then I don't even get all of number 3 done, but 4, 5, and 6 I haven't touched yet, it's okay because they were number 4, 5, and 6. They didn't matter as much. And I think my challenge was, and I think most people's challenge is that we major in minor things. We look at the list. People are going to laugh when I say this. You're going to look at your list And you're going to choose the 3 easiest things on the list, and you're going to do them first so that you can cross them off and feel good because 3 things were knocked off the list. But they were things like laundry and checking email. And it's like they didn't really matter. They didn't move your business or your life forward. So anyway, to go through my day, I start with that list and I start with number 1. And obviously there's balancing because it might be that the most important thing I'm going to do today is a phone call I have at 2:00. Well, obviously I can't start with that. So I'll start with number 2. Whatever it is, the most important thing that I can start with, I start there. So I work, and then it's a back and forth of what else is going on because I rank my family and my relationship, my wife, higher than I do my career. So, for instance, today I just texted Tara saying she got a bunch of things to do. That's my wife. And I said, hey, if you got something you want to do, if something you need, because she's real busy today, if something I can help with, I can do that this afternoon or whatever. She doesn't need me to, so I can keep doing what I'm doing. So does that make sense? I work until it's done, and then I come home. The kids get home, and then I can kind of set it aside. And yesterday I was able to play catch. My son's a football player, so I got to play catch with him for 30 minutes, and that's good time, So anyway, that's kind of how I do things.
That is awesome. I love that you shared with us your schedule and really showed us how family is higher priority and how you actually execute on that and what that looks like on a daily basis. And so real quick, I want to just ask you, when you're on the road and your schedule can't be so structured, do you try to keep a similar schedule, like working out the same 3 days a week? And if you're keynoting not till later in the evening, do you work during the day on your top 3 priority tasks?
Yes. Well, what I do is and it's not always top 3. I mean, it might be 5 or 6 on the list, but starting with the one that's most important. Yes, on the road, it needs to be balanced because on a travel day, it's just me on planes flying all over the place. But here's the thing. You got to look at the opportunities that you do have. An airplane is an awesome chance to get work done because the phone's not going to ring. There's nobody going to say, hey, you got to go do this. No fires come out. If you're not online, then you're just working. And I look forward to that time to write, to create, to plan, to set goals, whatever it is I'm doing. And people will often think, well, you have downtime where you're just sitting in the hotel room. Maybe we should come get you so we can take you to do something that doesn't matter. And they're very kind. And I'm not trying to put down that kindness. What I'm saying is I'm never without something to do. I always, if you leave me in a hotel, like they say the flight's delayed and I don't have to worry about what's next, I've got an hour or 2 delay. That's an hour more of work I get to do or time I get to read or whatever. So the day goes differently, but I'll look at it like this. I'll keep in mind, okay, well, when have I worked? Have I worked out recently? And if I haven't, then I'll find a time in the hotel. So you can do a workout in the hotel room. I have done as crazy as run the stairs, the 10 stories of stairs a few times. You can always find a way to work out. It's just a matter of keeping tabs on those things that are important to you and sticking with them. And then realizing if health is one of your priorities or one of your values, then you do have to make some concessions, like find the places in the airport that serve salads rather than hot dogs.
Right.
So, yeah. So anyway, that's what it looks like. And it's very much dictated by what's required for the client because that's why I'm there. So if they want me at sound check at 1, I'm going to be at sound check at 12:45.
Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing that. So it sounds like you are super productive, and I've known that about you. But I often speak with my clients about how they're screwing their productivity, and they don't necessarily know it at the time. Want to reduce your stress? How about grow your business? Wish you had more time for family, friends, hobbies, and everything else you enjoy? Think you can't have all 3? You're wrong. You just need to stop screwing your productivity. Text SCREW to 444999 to receive your free copy of 10 ways you're screwing your productivity. Or you can download your free copy at theproductivityspecialist.com/screw, SCREW. So I have a question for you. How do you think you may have been screwing your productivity in the past?
That's an easy answer because it's a daily battle for me, at least, maybe others. And that is over attention to details. Try minutia. failing to delegate things that are not really what I need to be doing. Doing things that are, the phrase I use is, you can't make $100,000 a year doing $10 an hour tasks. If it's something that doesn't pay, decide what you want to make. And if it's something that doesn't pay you that, don't do it. Delegate it to somebody. And obviously that's a nice principle and you have to work to get there, but that's the way you need to look at it. I have a tendency to over-focus on details that I could delegate to my assistant. I could delegate to my agent, or, some things just don't need to be done. So it's like they drop off the list. But my way I have messed up is getting so far into doing something that doesn't really matter, or is something that I could have someone else do, when there's something really important, like writing, like performing, like rehearsing, like networking, like creating marketing materials, like videos and things. Those are the things I need to be doing. That was the challenge. And the solution was for me to choose my highest value tasks. I think every person needs to choose, what are your highest value tasks? And it's usually no more than 3. I have 3, but it might be 1 or 2 tasks which give you the greatest payoff. For me, in order, they are, number 1, performing when I'm doing a show, when I'm doing a presentation somewhere. Number 2, the creative process, writing, rehearsing, practicing, coming up with new bits. And number 3, the marketing or networking. Which might mean videos, it might be doing a new website, it might mean keeping in touch with past clients. If I'm not doing, in fact, that's the way I hired both my assistants. One I've had for 13 years and one I've had for a year and a half now. And I said, I gave them an overview of the business. I said, here are my highest value tasks. Your job is everything else. Your job is to keep me doing these 3 things, and anything else, you take care of it. And so that's how I've solved the problem. And I say that I haven't completely solved it, because ultimately it's a personal challenge for any of us. It's a personal challenge to stop majoring in minor things. It's a personal challenge to keep to the most important tasks and let others do the other tasks.
So when you fall back perhaps to old habits and don't delegate, do your assistants say, hey, that's something I could be doing for you? Or how do you stop and recognize that it's a task or project that you're working on that would be best delegated to your assistant?
Ultimately, what's happened now is that there is a trigger or something inside me which realizes, hold it, look what you're doing. You are now caught up in this. And it's like, I know I'm not doing something. You know that feeling when they go, it's like, there's something I'm supposed to be doing and I'm not doing it. Oh, that's because I'm answering crap email and I need to be instead writing a new presentation or something. That's one thing. Pay attention, because I'll bet if you plug this in and you start practicing it enough, your body will tell you when you're not doing it. That's one thing. And number 2, yes, my assistant will say, Mike, I can do that for you. Oh, okay. And then I'll realize, it'll open my eyes and I'll go, oh, look at all the stuff that I've been doing that I need to just let her do. Part of it is having someone who is aware of those things. And that's the key, is to make them aware of it, to say, hey, here's my challenge. My challenge is I will sometimes get caught up in this small stuff. And they know that that's why they're there. So, I still feel the need to apologize when I'm asking my assistant to take my dry cleaning there. But I'm asking her to do that because that's her job and it's not mine. And that's why I hire her. That's why I pay her.
That's right. So I often say that we have to invest in others to be able to invest in ourselves. And so investing in their training, I have a client of mine, her name is Heather Nunez, and she says, she's got a really good quote. When she said it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to tell everybody I know about this. And she said that she moves it from her to-do list to their to-learn list. And so then she invests in them to teach them and bring them up to where it's a point that she can completely trust them. And I think that's great, because one of the reasons I believe a lot of entrepreneurs do not delegate is because they don't trust their staff can do it as well as them. We have that feeling like, oh, we can do it better. We know it's better. Or if it's not that, then it's, I can do it quicker than it would take to explain it to them and have them do it. When really, if you do that, you're investing, and then they can do that task over and over again.
That is such a great point. And you brought up something that a friend of mine and I were just brainstorming in Telluride, kind of planning our years together, a good old friend of mine. And he made the point, Don't hire for the job you need now. Hire for the job you need now and the job you're going to need a year and 2 years from now. And hire and it underscores the importance of hiring and how absolutely important, how critical it is to be slow to hire and quick to fire. But if you hire correctly, and I have, I've hired wrongly sometimes, but I've done pretty well with the assistants I have now. And so, for instance, Nicole, right now, product development. I'm having all of my programs, my DVDs, my CDs, and everything. I'm losing sales because they're not on a thumb drive, and so I'm having a product developed that will be a thumb drive of everything that I have. Well, normally that's my job. I would go through and I would be dealing with the guy who's doing the duplication. I would be finding the graphic artist. I would be choosing the photos. I would be writing the copy. I would be doing all this stuff. And I said, you know what, Nicole, it's time for you to develop this product. And so I said, I am going to leave this to you and you are going to make this happen. And you'll just ask me questions as you need to. And that's what's happening. So it's amazing. I think most of us have a tendency, maybe this is not true, but I have a tendency to underestimate what people can do. And it's amazing how when you entrust them with something, you show them, you watch them, and then you turn them loose. You show them one time, here's how you do it. Then you let them do it once and you watch them and correct how it's done. And then you turn them loose to do it. And there'll be mistakes along the way, but what you're training for is a greater payoff in the long run, because then wow, any project I have now, Nicole's going to know how, hey, put this CD together. Boom, done.
Absolutely. I can think of multiple tasks that I have been doing or had done in my business that I thought I could do really well, or I liked doing, like I actually enjoyed doing them. Definitely not highest priority. Perhaps it's graphic design or, creating some sort of image or something like that. And then one day I was like, you know what? Honestly, I need to hand this over to my assistant. And boy, did she put me to shame. I should never have been doing graphic design. Not only is she the right person to do it, she did it so much better than I did. And so I think there's lots of those things that we may keep because we like or we enjoy or we think we can do better. But then when we hire people that is their genius zone or that's something that they're so good at, I just sat back and said, okay, this is a lesson learned. And then it actually freed me up to try other things on her. Like, okay, well, how about if you do this? What would that look like? And then you kind of have to say, wow, she did that better than I could have. So yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah, really important point. As we grow and as our businesses grow, as our expertise grows, and as our lives grow, what happens is greater specialization. So it used to be in the beginning that I did everything. I did the graphics. I wrote the copy. I created the videos. I directed the videos. I did the shows. I drove the car. I brought my own sound system. I did everything. And as I got better and better, those things got delegated to the point where if you want to rise, what you need to do is delegate, because you cannot keep doing the same things and grow. So greater growth means greater specialization and the willingness to delegate. And I'll share this. This is from my mentor, Dr. Nito Kubain, president of High Point University, who said, the most successful people in the world say no to almost everything.
Absolutely.
Pretty good point.
You always have such good value. Everything you say, I just hang on because it really is coming from your years of experience being an entrepreneur. But unlike a lot of people, I think you have this special talent, and I have not even told you this, is that you listen to other people and then it resonates and it becomes part of who you are. You don't let it go in one ear and out the other. And then not only that, does it not only change your life and how you are as a business owner, you are so excited to share those golden nuggets with everybody, because I've learned so much through you that you've learned from other people. So you magnify that knowledge to people that you pour into. And so I love it. I think that's a great talent, because I sometimes, not sometimes. So I hear people and I learn things, but I don't always remember exactly how they said it or who said it. And you're really good at giving credit. And so I just love that about you. So thank you very much. Well, let me see. So you shared your challenge, you shared your strategy, lots of good strategies on how to effectively delegate and the benefits of it. So Give me an example of how once you decided that you were going to delegate and find the right staff and such, did you see an increase in your revenue, increase in your business?
Oh, yes. See, that's what happens is you keep growing and you keep delegating. And if you don't keep delegating, you won't keep growing. It's as simple as that. And so what I see happening is once you are willing to let go, and I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs who have a problem of they want to control everything. I want to be on top of everything. It's not only unproductive, it's kind of selfish. And it's also kind of self-aggrandizing because you're assuming you're the best at it. And you go, really? It's like one of the things I discovered that Nicole is great. And Nicole has a keen sense of style, clothing, wardrobe, and everything. And I don't care about clothing, but I try to dress well. I try to dress kind of artsy and whatever. I really hold it. Instead of my shopping, let her do it. And all of a sudden things get better. So she finds things for me. I didn't have to do anything. And I just go, yes, yes, no, 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 yes, yes, no. And that's my shopping. All of these things come together. Obviously working on your productivity, growing your business, all these things come together. And this is not a bad thing, but the major way that we find out whether we're the judge results is income. And my income has, from the time I started applying these strategies to now, my income has more than quintupled. That's purely because of greater specialization, greater delegation, letting other people do what they're good at. If I'm booking myself, well, that's okay, but that's every minute I'm on the phone trying to book myself is a minute I'm not writing, I'm not creating, I'm not getting better at my art form, when there's someone out there who loves booking somebody. And so it's like, well, let her or him do their art form and let me do mine, and then we're all going to get better off.
Wow, I think that is an excellent place to stop because that is just profound. I love it. So that is like a phenomenal advice for our entrepreneurs who are listening. And I know that they're on every spectrum. And right now you have 2 full-time employees and 1 contractor. They may be in their early stages where they're looking for a part-time, a virtual assistant, or just a contractor project based. And I always encourage the entrepreneurs that I work with or speak with about don't think it's all or nothing. Like you don't need to go from 0 to a 40-hour-a-week assistant. Look and see where you can outsource a project or where you can outsource being virtual assistant or even part-time. All of those will leverage your time so that you can be out making more money and doing what you specialize in. And then you can reinvest that money and then hire more help until you get to a point where you're able to do exactly what Mike has shared with us today is just stay super focused and do what you do best and focus and specialize in that area of genius, right? And so yours was performance, creativity, and then marketing and or networking were your 3 points. And we had Darren LaCroix on, and he's a mutual friend of ours, and he also had 3 items that he specifically knew that that's where his best time was spent, and he was able to also work his entire schedule around that, knowing that he's focusing on those 3 things. So I think if you're listening and you've listened to past episodes, you will know that this is some golden information, and it works to make us most productive. Before we close, though, if my listeners want to find out more about you or get in contact with you, Mike, how do they do that?
First of all, my website is just my name, MikeRayburn.com. That's MikeRayburn, spelled just like it sounds, MikeRayburn.com. And on there, if you just go to it'll say Virtuoso Tips or email sign up, whatever, however it's written at
it says Virtuoso Community is where I saw it.
Yes, Virtuoso Community. Join my Virtuoso community. It is absolutely free. You can unsubscribe. I don't even sell much on it. I send out a weekly Virtuoso tip, something you can do to help you get a little better at your job, your life, or whatever. It's every week. They're short and to the point. I mean, they're no more than 500 words usually, and they're maybe even shorter than that. Like I said, they're free and easy. And the word virtuoso is in the music world is someone of mastery level skill, someone who wakes up in the morning making the choice for excellence so often it's not even a choice. It's just who you are. I ask in my presentations, the final tool that I teach people to do is to make the choice to become a virtuoso. Choose to become your personal best at what you do. And most people don't ever do that. So I just offer tools to help with that. And that's what this is about. You can sign up there. The other way, if you want to just contact me directly, is to email me. And it's the only email address I have. And it is mike@mikerayburn.com.
I love it. Thank you so much, Mike, for being on and sharing so much knowledge and experience and wisdom with our listeners. And I hope you make it a productive day. While I loved having you listen to Productivity Straight Talk, I need to be straight with you. No change, no change. Without taking action, nothing will change for you or your business. So based on what you learned, what will you take action on today? To share your actionables and receive support, guidance, and motivation from entrepreneurs just like you, join us inside the Productivity Straight Talk private Facebook community. You can join by going to productivitycommunity.com. So that's my straight talk for you today. I look forward to next week when we'll be talking all about tackling your goals with tactical precision. Until next time, make it a productive week.